Andy, a Canadian government spokesman said that your art could not be described as original sculpture. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Why do you agree?
Well, because it's not original.
You have just then copied a common item.
Yes.
Well, why have you bothered to do that? Why not create something new?
Because it's easier to do.
Well, isn't this sort of a joke, then, that you're playing on the public?
No. It gives me something to do.
Andy, do you feel that the public has insulted your art?
No.
Why not?
Well, I hadn't thought about it.
It doesn't bother you at all, then?
No.
Well, do you think that they've shown a lack of appreciation for what pop art means?
No.
Andy, do you think that pop art has sort of reached the point where it's becoming repetitious now?
Yes.
Do you think it should break away from being pop art?
No.
Are you just going to carry on?
Yes.
Earlier, you said casually, since I don't believe in painting anymore.
Well, I don't believe in painting because I hate objects, and I hate to go to museums and see pictures on the wall because they look so important and they don't really mean anything, I think.
People think of you as the perfect pop artist without really knowing what that means, or I think really knowing what your work is about. I'd like to try to talk some more about the paintings and the things you did earlier, because there's something that I think needs to be explained for the public, which has at this point a certain impression of you, and I'm not sure that it's the one that you would want them to have, although I don't think it matters to you very much. Is that true?
What?
Does it matter to you that people feel one way or another to you? I mean, you have a kind of reputation now, which is a little bit apart from what you really are, I think. And does it matter to you that this is so, that they feel one way rather than another about you?
I don't really understand. This is like sitting at the World's Fair, riding one of those Ford machines where the voice is behind you. It's so exciting. You don't have to think anything. But you should just tell me the words and I could just repeat them because I can't. I'm so empty today. I can't think of anything. Why don't you just tell me the words and they'll just come out of my mouth?
No, don't worry about it because
No, I think it'd be so nice.
We'll
come on.
We'll loosen up after a while.
Well, no, it's not that. It's just I can't. I have a cold and I can't. Think of anything, and it'd be so nice if you told me a sentence. And
let me ask you some questions that you can answer.
Oh, no, but you repeat the answers, too.
All right. Well, I don't know the answers to some of them. You before you started the silkscreen, you made a number of paintings, and you made comic strips, right?
Yes, I made comic strips. Before I did the silkscreen things.
And you made some other paintings of things that were not done mechanically. What were they?
I made, I guess they were ads from magazines.
And then you made...
and then I made...
things like... Andy Warhol's reticence about himself masks a unique sensibility, one which has helped to alter our vision of the contemporary world. He suppresses his own feelings. This comes naturally to him, but also it imposes a detachment which gives his work an objective, almost surgical clarity. In time, he arrived at the silkscreen technique of making his pictures, a method which completely removes his own hand from the paintings. Choosing the images, their scale and shape, he sends them off to be processed photomechanically. Only the choice of color remains. In the factory, as everyone calls his studio, he prints the paintings with the help of his assistant, poet Gerard Malanga. Like Lichtenstein, Warhol takes his images from commercial art and from the popular culture, focusing on the most banal and familiar components of our environment. Warhol's intention is not satirical. With an implacable coolness, he forces our attention on the bizarre inventory of package labels, movie stars, and news photos of disasters, things we never really look at. By blowing up their scale, treating them so mechanically and passively, and often monotonously repeating them within the same painting, he rides over our indifference and our blindness. We have no other choice but to open our eyes anew to the whole world around us. A lot of people might be inclined, it seems to me, to put you down because they could say that your work has a certain distance, it's mechanical, and you don't really make it, and all of those things. And yet, like everyone else, when you start to talk about it, the things you say are about really caring. I mean, you want people's lives to be better.
Yeah, well, I guess I really don't, it's too hard to care, and I guess I care, still care, but I mean, it would be so much nice not to care.
In other words, are you saying that you are involved in this idea of making people more conscious of their lives, but you don't really want to get into their lives deeply? You just want to stir up.
Oh yes, yeah. Don't want to get too involved.
I think that this is a very important thing about all of your work. I mean, this idea of the distance, your own distance that you keep from it. Is this because of this feeling that you don't want to get that close to it?
Yes, I don't want to get too close to it.
You never, in any of your work, have ever really said anything that tells anyone anything about you, and you don't want that to happen, do you?
Well, there's not very much to say about me.
But there have been some extraordinary things. I think that for me, the high point was the opening of the exhibition at the Institute of Contemporary Art in Philadelphia, when so many people came that they had to take all the pictures down, and thousands of people jammed in there, and there were no pictures to speak of, just you. And you had the real character of a celebrity there. The kind of celebrity we really haven't had in American art. Do you realize that?
Oh, it was so pretty and glamorous.
Well, Andy, do you have any thoughts at all about the fact that so many people like the idea of just being able to watch you sitting in a chair or standing on a balcony signing soup cans?
But that won't last very, very long.
You don't think so?
No. Because just sitting there, it's really doesn't mean anything. But what I really want to do is, I guess, do some movies and sort of take what we've done and combine them together or something like that.
Andy Warhol has turned his attention more and more to movies, and he has become a leader of the underground film movement. He violates all the conventions of filmmaking, and his movies are shown without editing, as they come from the lab. While some run for 8 hours, most of them are short, 3-minute reels, like the 13 Most Beautiful Women. The film you are watching, Nancy Worthington Fish, comes from this series. When you began, you made the films very simply, without moving the camera and so on, and now you've tended to make them more and more complicated. You're getting into sound now, and what are you trying to do now?
I got tired of just setting the camera because it just meant repeating the same idea over again, so I'm changing trying to see what else the camera can do. And I'm mostly concerned with doing bad camera work and we're trying to make it so bad, but doing it well. Where the most important thing is happening, you seem to miss it all the time, or show the most scratches you can on the film, or all the dirt you can get on the film, or zoom badly, where you zoom and you hit the most important, you miss the most important thing, and your camera jiggles so that everybody knows you're watching a film. Because everybody else can do, I don't know, it's so easy to do movies, and you can just shoot and every picture really comes out right. So that's what I'm working on right now.
I want to change the subject again, and I would like to ask you to say something about the new sculpture.
The new things. Well, I'm working on is sculpture because since I didn't want to paint anymore, and I thought that I could give that up and do the movies, and then I thought, well, there must be a way that I have to finish it off, and I thought the only way is to make a painting that floats, and I asked Billy Kluver to help me make a painting that floats, and he thought about it, and he came up with the silver. Since he knew I like silver, he thought of the silver things that I'm working on now, and the idea is to fill them with helium and let them out your window, and they'll float away, and that's one less object to have around. And it's the it's the way of finishing our painting. And
so you think that that this will finish off painting, and then?
Well, for me, yes.
For you. So you feel that instead of having a painting, which is an inert object hanging on the wall, that what we really need is to have things which involve people more directly. And
we started we're sponsoring a new band. It's called the Velvet Underground, and we're trying to. Since I don't really believe in painting anymore, I thought it would be a nice way of combining, and we have this chance to combine music and art and films all together, and we're sort of working on that, and the whole thing is being auditioned tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and if it works out, it might be very glamorous.
What sort of thing do you intend to do with the band? Could you talk about that?
Well, it would be the biggest discotheque in the world, and it will have 21 screens, and I don't know, 3 or 4 bands.
An idea, a big idea, of something you wanted to get over before you started?
No.
What about the first section with the sort of pseudo-priest who came in at the end and so on? That was very funny, very entertaining.
Oh, well, the whole movie's a comedy.
Did you work from a script?
No.
When you decided to turn from pure artwork to film, what made you make this decision?
We met Taylor Mead, who was in The Flower Thief, and we were going to California.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought a camera, and that's how it started.
Mm-hmm. What part do you take yourself in the making of the films?
I don't know. Well, just do it. We all do it.
Would you call yourself a director?
No. Because just the people who I pick usually direct the movie themselves.
Mm-hmm. What do you do? Watch?
Yes. I get my thrills that way.
Are they very expensive to make these films?
So far not, but we just found out that we use tape magnetic stripe tape, and we found out that we can have sound now with movies that you can hear, and it's like magic.
What would the reaction be to a critic or a person who went to one of your films and just said, rubbish, trite nonsense, boring, etc.?
But that's the way we feel about it.
You really do? You're not putting me on? Are you interested in making a sort of more conventional type of movies?
Oh, yes. That's all we're going to do right now, is make conventional movies.
Are you going to continue with your artwork at the same time in the factory?
We're just going to do conventional movies.
With plots and...
Yes, lots of plots.
What kind of plots?
Beach parties.
Bow
tie movies.
What kind?
Bow tie movies.
What's a bow tie?
What's bow tie movie? What's
bow ties? Where you wear a bow tie.
Yeah.
In the movie.
This is a conventional movie.
That's what all the kids are doing nowadays.
Do you think the majority of underground films are bad, Andy?
Oh no, I like every one of them.
Why do you think they're all good?
Well, because well, I think I think any camera that takes a picture comes out all right.
You mean a picture itself is good?
Yes.
Any picture?
Yes.
Did you, when you were in London in the last weeks, did you see any of the English underground films? Are they doing anything over there?
Yeah, we saw one made in Shea Stadium.
Oh, the Beatles. Yes.
Paul McCartney makes underground movies. 8mm.
Are they any good?
Yeah, beautiful.
What sort of thing does he do?
Oh, snap, snap, snap. You know.
Just straight things. Slow motion.
Yeah. Fools around.
Did you are they
psychedelic?
Well, does he call them psychedelic?
No, he calls them home movies.
Andy, did you really think you'd get away with this gimmick of sending Midget out on the tour in place of you?
Well, I never thought of getting away with, anything.
What do you mean?
Well, I actually thought, Alan would do a better job and people would really enjoy it so much better.
Did you actually think that nobody would ever tumble to it, that it wasn't really you?
I don't think I was, no, well, I hadn't thought about it.
Could you speak up a little?
No, we really work very hard. We're not, we never think about things like that.
Do you solemnly swear that you are Andy Warhol?
Yes, I swear.
You are. Thank you very much.
It's Andrew.
What do you think of Jasper John?
Oh, I think he's great.
Why?
He makes such great lunches.
You want me to tell you about him?
Oh, go ahead.
Anything Andy does is fantastic because he's a saint.
A saint?
Yes.
Saint on how to first.
He really loves people. So anything he does is beautiful because he sees the best in everybody. He sees God wherever he looks and in whoever he looks at. So that's why they call it art, because he's just very good, very pure. They call it art. That's what they call art. And something just done with a touch of divinity.
Touch.
I didn't know you were going to be so formal tonight. I would have taken this tie off here.
I can hardly breathe.
What's the matter?
It's so nerve-wracking.
Is it
All
nerve-wracking?
these people. I'm not used to having to face all these people.
Well, they're friendly. They're very friendly.
Well, this and a rather tight jacket makes it a little more frightening.
Oh.
It's hard to breathe.
Wants to all blow at you? No?
That's it.
Good evening, Andy.
Andy, I must warn you, Andy won't say a word.
Why?
He's not used to making really public appearances, so I think he'll whisper answers to me if you ask him a question.
Can I listen while he whispers?
I'll whisper to you.
Aren't you going to say one word, Andy?
understand, because he paints, right?
Yes.
He paints.
Some of your most famous paintings, of course, I guess the one that brought you to fame was the Campbell soup can. Was it not? Right. Then it was the Brillo box, wasn't it? Right. And are there originals of those, or would you do a lot of them and then people buy? Do you do your own copies?
Yes.
You do your own copies. Ah. Are you specializing?
One word.
I didn't recognize the voice. Andy, have you started something new now other than or are you devoting all of your time to the underground movies?
Yes.
Yes, what? Oh, you mean the underground movies?
Yes.
And you've given up painting?
Yes.
Well, that's going to disappoint a lot of pop art collectors. No, you're not op art.
No.
Pop art.
Yes.
Right.
What is art, anyway?
I don't know. I've always thought an artist carries a certain amount of emotion into a painting. Can you do that in pop art? Is that any kind of an emotional thing for you?
No.
He's overcome with it. None at all? No, I'm being serious, because there are...
What kind of emotion can you put into a Campbell soup can? You know.
But then my question is, why would you paint a Campbell soup can?
Because it's part of the culture. It is.
I agree. I think a lot of advertising is something that we recognize. It's probably the...
Yeah, but the effect of it you might not realize. That's, art has something to do with the reflection of it. So if you begin seeing it on canvases, you start thinking about it. What do we have around us all the time? What do you see the most of? What do you notice?
Advertising.
It's true.
It is true in a sense.
And that's where a lot of
But
art
doesn't something of the artist go into his painting? No?
Yes.
No, Andy, or yes?
No. A lot of work, for one thing.
Even the masters, there was no emotional involvement with their paintings? The Rembrandts, the Da Vincis?
That's a romantic era. It's not...
Are there many collectors for your kind of art?
Yes.
For example, now, if I wanted to buy a Campbell soup can or a Brillo box without going to the supermarket, but no, I want to buy an Andy Warhol, what would I have to pay? What are they going for now?
He does not know.
You're not involved financially or commercially with any of your enterprises?
He's involved, but it's so involved that he can't keep track of it. There's so much money involved, too.
I see.
Oh, but give Merv a special price if he wants to buy one.
You said all people are the same, and that you wanted to be a machine in your painting. Is that true?
Is it true, Bridget?
No, he just wishes it was all easier. He said to me last week on the phone, he said, Bridget, wouldn't it be nice if in the morning we could get up and at 10 o'clock go to all the movies and then all the galleries and just think it would be just like Teeny and Marcel used to do, you know? Like, then how would you get any art done? Now, Andy can do that, but I can't because, you know, I've got to do my painting and my books.
Your hair.
Get to my hair, sit under the dryer. That's a great art, to come out with dry hair.
Pop started doing them 6 or 7 years ago before Bridget did them. I mean, could you tell me the whole process? I mean, tell me about the electric chair, which is one of my favorite paintings by anybody.
Well, I just found a picture and gave it to the man, and he made a print, and then I just took it and just began printing.
And he made a silk screen print?
Made a silk screen print, yeah. And then they came out all different because I guess I didn't know how to really screen. But Bridget does all my paintings, but she doesn't know anything about them.
Well, I know what's good. I know what's good.
What do you mean Bridget does all your paintings?
Well, Bridget's been doing my paintings for the last 3 years.
How does she do them?
Well, I haven't done any work for the last 3 years.
Well, you see, I just call Mr. Golden, and I just tell him the colors. And And I take Polaroids of the 4 flowers and I switch the colors around and superimpose 4 cutout ones up on top of it. Take a picture and have Mr. Golden do it.
But Mr. Golden's dead.
No, but it's the son.
Oh.
Do you ever bother to read all these great interpretations about your work?
Can I just answer a little?
Yes, you can. Back in 1962, or 61 or 62, around in then, when you and Rosenquist and Lichtenstein all were working very independently of each other, but evolving a same kind of attitude. Does that seem odd to you, that you all began to look at the world in the same way?
I think we just read a lot of comic books. And it just happened to come out then.
Well,
because comic books make things the way they are really today. I mean, the way things happen in New York now, it's like being in a Western movie.
Warhol's studio, called The Factory, is on Union Square. We called there, no result. He was at a farewell party for Jane Fonda on the SS France.
We're doing a picture together. Candy Darling.
Well, we're calling it Blonde and a Bum Trip.
Jane Fonda is going to be in Warhol's next movie. At least she thought so. Warhol did not.
I hope. In Hollywood?
Oh, I guess so, yeah.
Who is certainly going to be in it is Warhol's newly discovered star, Candy.
I call myself Candy Warhol now. Cashing in. Take my hat off. No, Andy came into a luncheonette where I was working as a waitress. And he came over to me and said, "You should be in movies."
With them eyes.
Yeah.
The luncheonette was like 6 in the morning, and it was called Paradise Heaven or something. No, what was it called?
It was
I know. Oh, it was 12th of Always.
10th of Always.
10th of Always.
So tell us about the film. What's the film about?
It's called Blonde and a Bum Trip.
Are there any marbles?
What's it about?
It's about a naive young lady who goes to Hollywood to make it big.
Candy is a man, but in Warhol's phrase, she's a real lady.
I'm the new girl in town. And I meet Rita Hayworth, Jane Fonda, Lana Turner, Kim Novak, all the glamour girls. And I interview them and cut them apart. And then at the end of the film, I'm murdered, I think. We haven't figured it out.
From behind.
Raped.
Warhol presents himself to the world outside the factory as an event rather than a person. He's only ever been upstaged once, when one of his actresses, named Valerie Solanas, shot him in 1968, and Sirhan Sirhan shot Bobby Kennedy the next day, thus making real the old Dada maxim that the history of art is a parody of the history of politics.
It's really good. No, I was kidding. Yeah.
Feel pretty good about being shown here at the Whitney Museum?
I don't know, Candy. What do you think?
Well, it's
This
good.
is the first time Candy's been to a museum.
Oh, is it? You never been to a museum before?
Maybe when I was in school. But I live only across the street, so I can come here all the time.
What do you think of the exhibit?
Well, I think it's colorful and it's all right. There's a lot of room here.
How do you like working with Andy Warhol?
Oh, I like working with Andy a lot.
You think he's a good director?
Well, he doesn't direct the pictures at all. He wasn't even there most of the time.
Oh, I see. But you do direct some, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I directed that one.
Why did you stop painting, Andy?
I haven't stopped painting. I paint my nails, I paint my eyes. Every day.
That's all you paint? You could say yes.
Yes.
Tell me, Mr. Warhol,
You can call me Andy.
does it shock you when people pay $70,000 for one of your paintings?
Why should I be shocked?
Well, isn't that rather a lot of money to pay for one of your paintings?
I think it's wonderful. I'd like to see some of it. God damn.
Do you think one of your paintings is worth $70,000?
Of course. Don't you?
I don't know. I'm just an observer.
Do you like my paintings?
I love them.
Which ones do you like especially?
Marilyn Monroe, electric chair especially. I don't understand why somebody would want to hang an electric chair on their living room.
You'd be surprised how many people want to hang an electric chair on the living room, especially if the background color matches the drapes.
But don't you think it's strange that people want to hang these disasters on their walls?
Oh, people love disasters.
Why do you think they love disasters?
I don't know. Ask Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, God. Let's get intellectual. What do you think about intellectuals, Andy?
Oh, they're a bore.
Is it true you never say anything, Andy?
Not at all. Look at this interview you're conducting now.
What do you say? Can I repeat my question? Is it true you never say anything, Andy Warhol? Oh, I'm sorry.
This is very metaphysical, David, if you ask me.
What does can you say that word again?
Metaphysical.
What does that word mean?
Well, it's sort of happening, but it's not happening.
What's not happening?
Well, here I am conducting an interview, and you're asking me why I don't say anything.
Well, you're not saying anything, are you?
Well, I certainly am.
Well, what are you saying?
I'm answering your questions. Don't tell me you think you're talking to the wall. Is this a dream? Where am I? Scream for your lives, the Tingler is coming.
He suddenly decides to make silk screens. I don't understand.
Well, I guess I had to do, I was working on shoes. And I got $13 a shoe. So I could think of, every time I had to think in terms of $13 every shoe, you know, so if they gave me 20 shoes to do for an ad, it was 13 times 20.
But there wasn't some sort of message. I mean, there wasn't any message in
No, there was no message.
So there's no social thing about
no.
suddenly choosing Elvis Presley?
No, could have been a shoe.
Well, why? But why Elvis Presley? I mean, why did you suddenly pick on poor Elvis Presley to do silk screens of?
I'm trying to think. I don't know. Why didn't really pick?
You did Marlon Brando also.
I did Marlon Brando also.
No, but you did Elvis Presley first. Was it a childhood? I mean, when you were, say, 6 or 7, did you have fantasies?
No, when I was more of 20.
But did you have sort of fantasies? There's some questions here. What were your fantasies when you were a child? Was Elvis Presley your fantasy?
No, I used to play with dolls.
Do you have any sort of dreams? I mean, is there anything you dream of doing?
No.
But you haven't done?
Walk a straighter line.
No, but do you have any fantasies?
No.
You don't have a fantasy of making a sort of $5 million movie with Liz Taylor?
Yeah, we have the fantasy of making a $5 million movie with Liz Taylor, but we'd make it on $400 and keep the rest of the money.
No, but there must be other things you have a fantasy about.
That's the fantasy.
Oh, this is great, no?
Yeah, gee.
Do you like going to the country?
No.
No? Well, why are we going?
Oh, I guess to visit Jane. She has the biggest house in town. It has 100 rooms.
What are we going to do in the country? Going to go horse riding?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I guess walk along the ocean because it's so quiet and peaceful and you get away from all the drugs in New York. The ocean is it's sort of the biggest abstract thing around. There's a lot of rocks here too.
You like rocks?
Oh yeah, my favorite art is the rock art. People
What's
who just
that?
people who just dig up land and and I don't know, move a rock or something like that, or take a lot of seashells and put them on your living room floor, and some dirt too.
But you don't like paintings anymore, do you?
No, I never did.
Just paintings in general, or?
No, I just like painted walls.
What, wallpaper?
No, empty painted walls. Well, actually, I like the best of all is before the painters come in, and then the painters just, you know, the person that just patches up the little spots and puts you know, the touch-up plaster. And so it looks like abstract art. You know, when you do, if you have a crack and you put on white and stuff, and then you put a brush on it, and then you leave it. Or where the nails go in, and you put the plaster on the nails so that the nails don't show up. It's the look I like.
Is that why you stopped painting? Because you hated paintings?
Oh, no, I stopped because I guess I bought a camera, and the camera would seem to be so much easier than the painting.
Not the movie camera or the Polaroid?
No, the movie camera.
People must be wondering why we're sitting so close together in such a big car.
Oh, you don't mind me sitting so close together because it's better in the middle, because if you sit on that side, that's where if you have a car crash, you know, you go right out through the window. That's the most dangerous spot. And there's so many car crashes in town. So I hope you don't mind.
You did that silk screen of a car crash, no?
Oh, yeah. But well, actually, you know, it wasn't the idea of the accidents and things like that. I was just thinking about, well, it all started with buttons. I always want to know who invented the button, or who was the person who ever thought of making buttons, or why they ever thought of buttons. And then I thought of all the people who worked on the pyramids. I always sort of wondered why, you know, whatever happened to them? Why aren't they around? So I always thought it'd be easier to do a painting of the people who die in car crashes, because sometimes, you know, you never know who they are.
Let's get in. Hurry. We're cold.
Doesn't he bend down?
No, he doesn't. That's camels. You put
Now
your
take it
left foot there,
right,
and then
like
you
this.
hold on here and there, and then you swing your leg across.
He really has sort of become a grand man. I mean, to me, that's what he is now.
Now jump.
He's also very fragile. I don't think people realize that. He's less and less fragile, but
Isn't that fabulous?
since he was shot, I mean, he was in an awful lot of pain for about a year.
Yeah.
Wait. Hold the reins then.
You're not supposed to hold on. It's proper form. One day, we had a friend who came up named Valerie Solanas. But she was kind of a slightly eccentric person. She was selling what she called her manifesto. And she would stop people on the street and say, buy this, it's important to your life. And then you'd buy it and you'd see that it was called the Scum Manifesto, called Society for Cutting Up Men. And then a lady, actually a well-known writer, said, you know, this girl writes movie scripts and plays, and I think she deserves some attention. So Andy gave her some attention. So she came to the factory one day, and Paul said to Valerie, you look awfully well today, Valerie. You have on makeup. She never wore makeup. She always dressed in a very kind of masculine way. She said something, you know, witty and mean, and to Paul, and he said something else sort of mean to her. And then everybody laughed. And there was one other person there, a man from an Englishman, who was just talking to Andy about a museum show. So while we were all chatting and I started typing him a letter at my desk, Andy started talking on the telephone, and suddenly there was like an explosion. The man from London said it's about...
I'm afraid to look at my scars, so I always just jump into bed.
Your scars?
Yeah.
Can we talk about your scars?
Oh, yeah.
That was from when you got shot, your accident, yeah?
Yeah.
It must have been awful.
Oh, no, I look like a Dior dress. No, an Yves Saint Laurent dress. A lot of stitches.
How long ago did that happen?
A couple years ago.
And why did she pick on you to shoot?
I was just in the wrong place at the right time.
Did it change your life much?
Oh, I don't take off my clothes.
But that's the only thing it changed?
Yeah.
Who knows you better than anybody else?
Who knows me better than anybody else who knows me? The telephone operators. Because I can only talk on the telephone.
Or in bed?
Or in bed on the telephone.
But you're talking now.
Oh, I'm talking to you because you said you'd go to bed with me, and that's the reason I said I would talk to you.
This is like in reverse. It's like a director going to bed. No, it's not. It's like...
No, it means paying the price.
Paying the price?
Yeah, you know, it's like those old-fashioned times when you had to pay the price to get in the movie.
What, you mean when all the actresses slept their way to the top?
Yeah. One day last year, we were in Paris, and George Cukor invited us over for tea, and we met Claudette Colbert and Simone Signoret and Olivia de Havilland and Ginger Rogers. And I was so surprised because they were all so short, but they had big heads. Or they had big heads and they were all so small. Or their bodies were short, but their heads were big. And I never realized that, and that's the reason most of the Hollywood stars were also great, because that's what the magic they gave, because on screen they really come out so much better.
What, because they have big heads?
And they're smaller, yeah. There's something about it. Tall people never really make it as well as short people do.
Why were the movies called underground movies in the beginning, Andy?
Because they were always shown in the cellars, under I don't know, just down in basements and things like that.
Well, so they became known as underground movies?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I smoke in bed?
No. Do you mind if I chew gum in bed?
No.
I'm so sleepy I have to keep awake.
Hang on. Think of something else to say, Andy.
Gee, I heard you were a closet queen. Is that true, David?
It could be.
Really? What is a closet queen?
No, someone who lives in the closet, I suppose, and is scared of being homosexual.
Really?
You attract a lot of those people up at the factory, though, in your films, no?
What? Closet queens? No, I don't...
Not closet queens, drag queens.
Drag queens? Oh, but the people we use aren't really drag queens. Because drag queens are people who just sort of dress up for, like 8 hours a day or something like that. And the kind of people we really use are people who think they are really girls and stuff, so that's sort of different.
But why do you use drag queens when you could use the real thing?
Oh, I like the real thing better, too.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, I just, these drag queens carry on and complain about all their problems and stuff. They don't really know what girls go through. I mean, they've never had a period.
But they take those pills.
I know, but they've never had a period. They can't really tell. No, I don't think I'm a revolutionary artist.
Did you learn anything from old art?
Well, what I learned from old art was to do old art.
What do you mean?
Old art is painting on canvas, and I paint on canvas. That's old art.
Do you just paint to please people?
Yes, because I think that's what art is. It's entertainment and pleasing people. It's portraits and making people look pretty if they're not pretty. Or
Can anybody be an artist?
yeah, if you say one day I want to be an artist, you just decide to be an artist, and it depends on how far you want to go. Oh, how do you tell the difference between a good painting and a bad painting? Well, I really never think of that because I can't really tell. Well, I don't think people really like art. They just, it's just displayed nicely in museums. It's something to go to on Sunday afternoon and bring your kids to. Why don't you ask me what art is?
What is art?
What is art? Art is short for artist. I thought words are just always made shorter, so art was just cut from the word artist and made shorter.
Do you tell the truth?
Oh, yes, I tell the truth. I can't make up stories. I can't think that fast. A lot. We still, I guess, use people who talk a lot, but maybe movies have to be quiet, so we'll probably have to find somebody who doesn't talk so much.
Do you think there's a difference between commercial art and fine art?
No, because I miss the fine art now, because it used to be in the windows, and now it isn't. You know, it used to be. Well, they can't afford art in the windows anymore. It's window decoration.
Oh, tell about your Bonwitz window show. Tell me the story.
Oh, no, there's nothing. I mean, I just did the windows for Bonwitz. Well, see, I think the new art now is fashion shows.
Well, that's where you started, no?
Oh, yeah. And that's the reason I was late coming. I was at a fashion show, and then they had the girls run in the street while the cars were coming, and then run back so the cars wouldn't hit them. Isn't that great?
Think your paintings are just decorations?
Yeah, it's to cover up a wall.
Huh? To
Cover up a wall.
Do you think they have any other importance?
No.
Why did you stop painting?
Why haven't I? Let's do it secretly.
Do you still paint?
Well, I paint walls.
Ideas from them?
Oh, everybody gets ideas from everybody. Yeah. Gee, I lost one of my candies. Okay. Now, will you take a picture of me?
Does that picture come out? What does he do? Just push the button?
Yeah, just 3 feet away, and I'll focus. You look into this thing. You don't even have to look.
No, don't look like that. No, look pretty. That's much.
Okay.
Or are you trying to say that it's easy enough for anybody to do it?
Huh? No, I'm just trying to get a picture collection.
Do you think we're just all watching each other all the time?
No. Will you take a picture of me?
Sure.
Okay.
No, beautiful.
Look pretty. That's
no,
soulful, isn't it?
Well, you're out of focus because you're 3 feet away.
How can I get it?
I'm putting myself in focus.
That's 3 feet. It's got to be within 4 feet. There you are.
Okay, Barbara. Okay. Art belongs in museums?
Well, if we have to talk, this is going to be very hard because I thought department stores were the new museums, and now here I'm sitting next to somebody who just did a great museum. What then? But it should be a department store, so it's confusing because I thought department stores were the new museums. But I think the museums should become department stores, and they could sell the paintings off the walls.
Paintings are so expensive. What do you do about the fact that your paintings are so expensive?
Oh, they're not that expensive.
Your paintings?
Oh, you can on the black market. You can get them for nothing.
Did you have a pet as a child?
No, I never had it when I was a child. So I made up to it about 10 years ago when I had 20. Did he tell you the idea that I had? Yeah, I just thought it would be sort of nutty.
And he took that notion of the artist studio as a modern factory and carried it over into this filmmaking. And every week he'd make a film, take an afternoon off or an evening and make a film during the week, sometimes 2 or 3 a week. And so the
Lady Godiva, chocolate, soft centers.
Oh, too much attention.
Come on, give me a hug. Oh, look at it. Oh, hold it.
Do it again. Do it again. Come on, another one, hop.
Well, I was trying to learn how to take bad pictures, and I still haven't learned how, just get the right bad picture each time.
What's pop art?
Pop art is, well, it's so funny because we know this person whose name was Iggy, and his name is Iggy Stooge, and since he was sort of made it as a rock and roll star, but now he's changed. He went to London, and he's just changed his name to Iggy Pop. So I guess pop just means it's a short word for things that people like at that time. Maybe it was called popular painting. When I was in Germany, they showed us what made a painting popular is depending on how much of the marble was worn off in front of the painting. Well, the only painting I really like here is that Dutch painting because everybody looks alike in it. The small people and the tall people and the little people. They're all wearing the same uniform. It looks pretty. I liked mechanical painting better before, but now I like abstract pseudo painting because you can do it without even thinking more so easier. It can be messy and just drip all over the place. So easy. My paintings are more like magazine pictures because they're actually from pictures from magazines.
Well, then how do you know they're paintings?
I don't know they're paintings. They're just, well, I saw a couple of the paintings that I did recently, and I didn't even know I had done them because they were supposed to be cut, and they weren't cut. And so somebody sold them because it was two different things together on one canvas. So they actually just made one big picture out of it. They called it a picture. So I don't know. It just was doing it on one canvas, and then whoever cut them where they cut them. It was just making fabrics.
I think these paintings are just like fabrics or...
No, these are like, these paintings here are like picture windows. I guess artists are really different things now. I think really the real artists are doctors and business people.
Why?
Oh, well, because they're more creative.
Mm.
Well, they can think of better deals to do or new diseases to cure.
So you think art isn't very important?
No, unless it's, will combine with something else.
Do you want to be a popular artist? So important?
No, I'm really trying to get into the dress business right now. I'm a commercial person.
Why?
Well, I've got a lot of mouths to feed. Got to bring home the bacon. I just sort of paint portraits now because it helps us produce another movie.
What will the art of the future be like?
I think it's political art. Like, if a person's a good baker, somebody will make a good painting of a person baking. Culture is slowly disappearing. I guess actually it goes in two directions. It goes up and down, and hard and soft. And I guess anything that is the easiest is really culture.
I think. Thank you.
Hello? Andy? Yeah? It's me. What's pop art? Well, just what I asked you. What is it? I'm very confused between that and Danish modern. Huh? It's a phrase, minimal, conceptual. What's pop? I don't know. Window dressing? I did a painting of you today in the toilet. I flushed it and your face came out. It was fabulous. And I did a Jasper Johns. I flushed down 25 American flags. Got them during the flush. What? I've been doing flush art for a long time. It's much neater.
I'll talk to you later. Give your mother my love.
All right.
if you ever see her.
Goodbye.
Okay, you're not at home anyway. Bye.
I still care about people, but it would be much easier not to care.
Ask Andy about the musical you're going to make together.
Andy, tell me about that musical.
Oh, gee, we want you to be the star of it.
The star? Me? A star? I'll twinkle for you any night. What's it called?
Oh, Vicious.
Vicious. Is it going to be a musical comedy?
Musical romance.
A musical romance. Yeah. And is Fred Astaire going to dance his way into the heart of the nation?
No, you're gonna have this be in love with this boy.
Oh, that sounds like fun already.
And the boy decides to take a trip to Florida.
Florida? Get a good tan in Florida.
No, on each bus, he takes a bus.
Uh-huh.
And each bus stop, he shaves his legs and he puts on a pair of girl shoes. And by the time he gets to Florida, he's a girl. I don't think love is a big enough word.
For what? To describe your feelings?
Yeah.
There we go. Super.
Although Andy Warhol's name is known around the world, few people have seen behind his public face. Criticized for being a commercial self-promoter, he remains a private person, a combination of publicity-shy, publicity whirlwind. He uses his shyness to superb effect, making connections as he goes.
Oh, isn't that great? Yeah, I love it.
It's nice that you're visiting us here in Washington.
This is as big as Kissinger.
He gets to know everyone, despite the fact that he rarely talks and never commits himself.
Are you going to support Carter again this time?
Yes, yeah.
What, over Teddy Kennedy you'll support him?
I think it'd be great to do both.
Great to tell about both, you mean?
Yeah.
He always carries a camera and a tape recorder, and he listens. Quiet and inarticulate, Andy is content to be an observer.
I look shy, and I am shy. And my voice is cracking, shy.
Andy has always had a fan mentality. He worships stars.
Andy Warhol, I'm sure.
Gets to know them. In many cases, arranges to paint their portraits.
I asked him if he took my photograph, would he been painted, and you all saw him nod yes.
With his distinctive, colorless face, Andy always stands out. But it's his philosophy that anyone can be famous for 15 minutes.
He's as famous as a rock and roll singer or as famous as a TV star. And he's the only artist ever in the history of America who's been able to do that.
It's going to look?
Yeah, except the picture will
be bigger. Oh, great. Oh, great. So, did you sell any ads today? You did?
After 10 years of losing money, the magazine is finally turning a profit. Andy is publisher of Interview. Bob Colacello is the editor.
When you're talking about Australia, and then they say, I want to go there, it sounds like the really new California.
Oh, I added that.
You mean you're putting words in my mouth, Bob?
To make you have something to say for a change.
Terrific.
Andy recently came out with his first book of photographs called Exposures and gave a party at the factory to celebrate its publication.
Oh, it's fun. It's fun, but everything looks so great.
The book is photographs of Andy's friends. His idea of a good picture? One of a famous person doing something unfamous. It's being in the right place at the wrong time. To promote it, Andy set off on a cross-country book signing tour. It's been said that Andy's best art is publicity.
Andy Warhol looks a scream, hang him on my wall. Andy Warhol, silver screen, can't tell them apart at all.
He's interested in absolutely everything. It's a wonderful kind of naivete. I mean, he just, watches things, which is, filling up his brain for his art.
Andy is the first real art celebrity since Picasso and Dali. For the second time in less than a decade, the Whitney Museum in New York has mounted a major exhibition of Warhol's portraits. Except for the giant Maos, these are paintings commissioned by rich and fashionable people. For Andy Warhol is now America's most sought-after portrait painter.
These are mostly portraits that I did when I traveled a lot, and so I sort of feel like I'm an old-fashioned American portrait painter. When I went to different cities for the magazine and for the movie and stuff, I never felt I knew what I was going to do there, and this way I took my Polaroid along, and then we got commissions to do pictures of people. So I'm just an old-fashioned artist.
People look at Andy Warhol's work and they say to themselves, or they say to their friends, I take photographs, I could do something like that. And I think what they leave out of consideration is an incredible amount of experience that lies behind the work, a simplicity that's only apparent. I think it's the training of the hand, the training of the eye, that's unlearnable except by instinct. And only 15, 20 artists in a generation have that instinct.
I don't consider it a feast of great painting. It's an interesting promotional event, but I've rather looked on Warhol's work that way from the beginning. He hasn't contributed much to the development of interesting things in American painting. The most difficult test that a painter can face is seeing a whole museum full of his own work. And then the thinness is very apparent. One or two seem amusing and original, but a gallery full is finally a big bore.
When asked to defend himself against his critics, he replied in his typical deadpan way.
Oh, I can't. They're right. Well, I try to make everybody look good. I think that's what life's all about. Maybe we can just can you put a little bit on your shoulders, some powder? Yeah.
Yes, you know, I'm a very tan person.
Oh, I know. It just would make a better painting.
Farrah Fawcett, on a recent trip to New York, came to Andy's studio to have her portrait done.
I wanted to keep my hair kind of messy.
Oh, yeah, no, your hair is so beautiful. It is. No, it's really great.
First we were going to do it straight.
Oh, no, it looks just the way it is. It's great.
Farrah, somewhat nervous, told Andy that she'd studied his work as an art student and was eager to sit for him.
Let's try this camera. Oh, yeah, that's nice. Okay, that's great. That's good. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, that's great. Okay.
Warhol portraits begin with a series of Polaroids, snapshots which are blown up, printed on plastic sheets, and turned into silk screens. Using this method, Andy turns out as many as 25 commissioned portraits a year.
Maybe if a couple big smiles might, yeah, let's do the big smiles, and that's good. Okay, that's good.
After 40 pictures, Andy captured the look he was after. But his sessions often require as many as 300 shots.
Oh, really? Okay, well, we'll make them lighter then. Okay. So they all come out. I mean, there's no bad ones. Let's see what because we did 3/4 views, so let's see what the 3/4 views look like. This looks more like the other side, doesn't it? We'll blow them up and then see which one comes out the best.
And how do they blow up?
Well, we just, yeah. They blow up really, we can get them this big.
2 weeks later, the enlargements were back, and Andy began to paint, a process which, up until now, he has never shown or talked about.
We send it out to a stat place, and they just enlarge it. Then I trace it on the canvas and then paint on the canvas. It's too blue.
Andy has always worked with assistants, and usually paints 2 hours a day in the afternoon.
Oh, yeah, that's a good color. Yeah. Can we have a little brush? I'm always surprised that the people like the pictures because the color's never really the right color of the eye or the makeup. I mean, did you ever see an artist working on the floor? This is too hard.
It's clear that Andy's style has changed dramatically. From his hand-painted shoes, to multiple soup cans, to a technique that combines mass production with painting by hand. Farrah's portrait marks his style of today.
Let's see what it looks like. It's actually pretty, isn't it? It really is pretty. That's not so bad. I have to look at it, think about it some more.
There are really 3 Andy Warhols. The commercial illustrator of the 50s, the social commentator of the 60s, and the society artist of the 70s. Still, he defies any one label. What is clear is that Andy Warhol, whose own looks never change, is his own best work of art.
Well, I just like to have the same breakfast, have the same lunch, walk to work, answer the same phone calls, and do the same paintings, do the same thing every day.
Well, that's 2020 for tonight.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
What do you mean not again? TV. You're on candid camera, Andy Warhol. Face the cameras. You look good in the light. Sure you do.
How's your wife?
She's fine. How's yours?
Oh, mine's fine.
How's Archie?
Oh, he just came back from a long trip.
Where was he?
I think he and Anus took a trip.
Why didn't you bring him out? Isn't he got a Bella button or something? Or?
He has a Bella button, yeah.
Where's your Bella button?
There it is.
Okay, all right. Now tell me, Andy, are you just out because it's a party at Studio 54, or are you out because Bella is having a birthday?
Out here because there's a party at Studio 54. Steve Rubell.
Do you know who Bella is?
For mayor.
You're for Bella, aren't you?
Yeah, for Bella.
Okay, can you tell me why?
She's everything I wanted to be.
That's good. That's good. Do you think it's time for a woman to be mayor? You're ready to accept a woman leader in City Hall?
Yes.
I mean, you think of women as pretty much equal, don't you? I mean, you're not a male chauvinist pig, are you?
They're better.
What?
They're better.
They're better? Well, do you think Bella for president in a few years?
Better than you are.
You better believe Bella's better than I am. I'm not good for much, but
really?
Not much, you know. I heard you're out in the Hamptons this weekend.
No, I was here in town working.
I thought, you stayed in town. You're not getting any use out of that house in Montauk?
Listen, the city's so much better in summertime.
What are you working on? I know you're doing a lot of cock paintings. And
I'm doing a lot of cock paintings.
Are you modeling yourself?
I'm painting your wife.
Oh, gossip.
They got off of me, so...
You're not going to take anything off. You can say anything, Andy. We'll forgive you, you know.
Oh, good.
So, go in and have a good time. Look, I know Galella's back. Can you believe it? Yeah. Take a picture of Ron Galella. So, okay, Andy. Ron Galella and Andy Warhol facing off with their cameras. Look at them all taking. You like taking. He's got a camera too. You know, where's your tape recorder, Andy?
Oh, I left it at home.
Is it you finally decided there's not enough people worth taping? Or?
No, I knew you were going to be here, so you know.
You're so nice. Are you not taking the tape recorder out anymore?
How come I haven't seen you around for a couple of days?
Well, I was out in East Hampton. I had a fabulous weekend, sure. It was a big party at Southampton Hospital. It was lots of fun. Governor Kerry stumbled in, and Lee Radswell jumped on a big motorcycle. Yeah.
Did you lose your jewels out there?
Did what?
Did you lose your jewels?
No, I'm not wearing many jewels. Sure, of course I have. There's Steve Rubell, the owner, Studio 54, the one we have to thank for all these fabulous parties. You want me to say fuck?
Oh, you can't.
You say all the dirty words you want. Go ahead.
Never say dirty words.
Monique Van Voren and Andy Warhol, two of the world's top superstars and beauties. Listen, you two having a sex thing? What's the story?
No, yeah? We're running away from Mrs. Weintraub.
Yeah. What about you and Paulette Goddard? I hear you having a real thing. But your mother thinks you're too old for her, or yeah? She told me the other day. Listen, how's Man on the Moon coming along?
Very well.
Previews start December 27th. It's going to be a fabulous hit show, and I'm really excited about it.
Raymond?
Move back a little bit.
Where's your boyfriend Raymond?
My boyfriend Raymond? Yeah. Raymond who? I don't have any boyfriends, Raymond, man. What is this shit? Huh? Where's your boyfriend Jed? Where's your whole entourage?
They're here.
Listen, there's always been a rumor that you're asexual. Is it the truth?
Yeah, it's the truth.
Huh? What, you don't like fucking and sucking, or what's the story?
This isn't on television, is it?
Yeah.
Huh? I mean, Monique, I know her. She's fantastic.
I'm asexual.
You're asexual. When is the show going to open? I'm so excited. Broadway needs you.
Really?
Oh, you better believe it.
You're on Broadway right now.
When did you decide to have a Broadway show?
Yeah, when did you decide to have a Broadway show? No.
When you told me.
Yeah.
No, when did you decide to really go to Broadway? That's a new field. You've got magazines, you've got film, you've got pictures, you've got paintings, you've got silk screens. You should, man. Your hair might need it, huh? He does mine. Eugene does my hair. He's the best hairdresser in the world. No, I think he's home. You better believe it.
He's home tonight?
Andy, you know, you're really referred to as really the king of the pop world, king of the art world. How do you feel about it? Has your dream come true? Have you got what you want now?
What?
You know, acceptance, you know,
Where's
You know, prestige, all the galleries, top money for all your paintings. So you're happy?
Monique, are you happy?
I'm happy to have Andy as a friend.
Now, Andy, listen, I know you've moved from uptown towards you've moved downtown, you've got a big townhouse.
Yeah. No, the other townhouse was bigger. This one's in town, the other one wasn't.
Who's decorating it for you? Doing it yourself?
Decorations.
Listen, do you like living in the 60s better than uptown?
No, I lived uptown better.
It's closer down to the factory?
Yeah, no, uptown's closer.
You know, we like your old factory. It's a good place to work.
Really?
You left a lot of good vibrations there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And we've got all those silk screens you left that were torn up.
You don't say vibrations, not you.
Sure I do.
Really?
Why not?
You know that he works like a dog.
Listen, I know he works like a dog.
Did you see my dog in the papers?
Where's the dog? Why don't you bring Archie with you everywhere?
Okay.
You really should.
You want to dance?
Do I want to dance?
Well, come on, let's go dance.
You've got to believe it. Andy, one more thing. Do you like the new factory better than the old one?
No, I like the old one better.
Is there any?
It got better vibrations there.
Better vibrations there. You got. I'm a little pissed off at Robert Culicello and Peter Lester because I did a Dynamite interview with Peggy Lee, and they're telling me that Peggy Lee isn't Interview Magazine.
Really?
What's this? Can't you assert a little authority? You tell them you want Peggy Lee in.
Yeah.
What is this? Do you like Peggy Lee?
I love Peggy.
Does the world like Peggy Lee?
I love her.
Well, what's the story that we can't put Peggy Lee in?
We can put Peggy in.
Huh? We're gonna put Peggy Lee in, Andy. I admire you. I've worked for you. I like you. I'm going to give you a kiss in public. You're fabulous.
We do the same thing over and over again. I mean, it's just...
Say something new. Say a dirty word on TV.
I don't want to.
Go ahead. What can you say?
Say Monique.
That's not a dirty word. Are you kidding?
Listen.
But, Andy, how do you think about Aunt Margaret?
We just left. We met her a little while. She's great. Yeah, we saw her tonight.
Did you have dinner with her?
She drinks water. No, I had Perrier. No.
Plain water.
Perrier.
Tell me about her. How does she look?
Oh, she's red on red is so beautiful.
That red dress cut down to her navel, and
that's really great.
You a big Aunt Margaret fan?
Yeah, big Aunt Margaret fan.
What was your favorite movie Ann did?
State Fair.
And what about after the accident? Does she look the same?
Oh, she looks the same.
I mean, really, they did a great job.
In the light.
You promised me, Andy. Just tell me, did you have a good time at the party? What did you think of the flower arrangement on the table with the whips and the bell and the glove and the chain and the walker? Tab's waiting. What I like? I already showed them that. Listen, we're looking forward to. You're going to really bring Man on the Moon to Broadway. Yes. We're looking forward to it. Andy Warhol, the omniscient, omnipresent star of the world. And listen, you've got to see. I saw.
Absolutely, Andy. Get out quick.
We saw her again.
Quick.
Your portrait by Mark
Andy.
It's great. Thanks, Andy.
No,
You loved it?
Wasn't there a little 12-year-old?
Come over by Genevieve a minute, Andy.
There was his little 12-year-old sister.
He loved it.
I understand that every black model in the city was there as part of the entourage of the wedding party. Was that true?
Yeah, that's true. I saw Cleveland carrying the palm trees.
Did you have some good seats?
No, we didn't have any good seats. We have the best seats now.
Tell me, how were the clothes? I know Halston made all those fabulous 3D clothes. What were the clothes like?
3D? I didn't see 3D clothes.
Did you see 3D, Andy? You've made 3D,
Halter neck, gold lame dress, and he was wearing black pants with a gold bolero.
I thought it was a blue.
No, he wasn't. He was all in black.
He was in blue.
He had a gold
Well, I thought he was.
Hey, Jed, what was give us the definitive answer.
Father was in black.
I thought
His niece was in blue sequins, jet blue sequins, and
Everybody was in sequins. Everyone had sequins.
except the black models who carried the palm trees. They were in black.
You mean live palm trees they were carrying?
No, just gold palm boughs.
Andy, is that the way you want to get married?
No,
Oh, just a little?
no.
I mean, this is your big chance. There are a lot of agents here.
She's a big star. She doesn't need an agent. She just needs a new film. Andy, go ahead. When are you going to put her in a new film?
So why don't you hum a little? Then I said every 15 minutes somebody will be famous, or every
Yeah.
15 people will be famous in every 15 minutes. Or,
Were you sort of surprised how that has become a part of the lexicon?
oh, yeah, I know. I can't understand it. I thought O'Reilly would be.
Andy Warhol is a famous artist. He's famous because he's a pop artist. Now, pop means popular, and popular means rich for Andy. He's the artist who made Campbell's tomato soup cans popular and famous as art objects. He also created a series of 10 portraits of famous Jews of the 20th century. But more about that later. Meanwhile, his appearance this morning on Miami Beach to tour the Art Deco district turned into a media event with cameras, reporters, groupies, kids, and curious onlookers all crowding around Warhol, who looks like a white-haired cherub out of a 19th century Dickens novel. I talked to the famous artist about his art before the luncheon at the famous restaurant.
Your work tends to be, I don't want to use the word sensational because that connotes something bad, but you want attention.
Oh, no, that's not true. I work most of the time, and then I just have, well, they make me do this, so.
Well, this must feed your arsenal.
No, it doesn't. No, we have a business going in New York. We do, our magazine interview, and we have a cable TV station, and it's sort of a nice way to start young kids. And just.
Why did you decide to allow Miami to have the premiere of your exhibit?
Well, I guess I always wanted to see it this way, and gee, it was really wonderful. I guess I would never, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have saw the.
Are your portfolios selling?
Well, I haven't seen them in so long, so they might be.
What has your art to say to the 20th century? That's a ponderous question, but I'm curious.
Well, I don't really have that much to say about them, but what I try to do is just to have people remember the things that I draw about, the subjects.
You want them to recognize objects that they use rather than objects that they worship or adore.
Well, no, objects that they worship and adore.
Are common everyday objects.
Are common everyday objects, yes.
Well, we're a self-destruct civilization, in other words.
No, I don't think that makes things self-destruct. I think it makes it just much better.
But you want those who buy your work, to keep it and study it and live with it.
And then sell it.
And resell it.
Yes.
Why?
Well, it's like everything else. I think everything else should be recycled. Like leftover food at restaurants.
Well, that's your concept. That's the Andy Warhol touch that makes it different.
Well, that's what I sort of believe in.
That's Andy Warhol, the artist. I'll review his show at the U of M Low Art Museum Monday night.
And then he took a picture of me again, and I took another Polaroid of him, and then we had the Super X, the camera 70, Super 70X, and then I took one of, then I took another picture of Man Ray, and then I took another one of Man Ray, and I took another one of Man Ray, then I took another with my funny camera. What's it called? The funny camera? It's called the portrait camera. And so I took another one of Man Ray, and I took another one of Man Ray, and I took another one of Man Ray. And then I think he signed one of them, and then I took another one of Man Ray. And I took another picture of Man Ray, another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray, and another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray, another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray. And then another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray, and then I took another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray, and then I took another Polaroid portrait of Man Ray, and then I took another portrait, and then I think he took another portrait of me, and then he signed that one for me, and I put it in my brownie shopping bag. This is the first time I ever had hair.
Hair?
Yeah, I mean, it's really good.
Oh, it's really it's unusual. Yeah. It's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit. Is that hair?
Well, what is the official name of the meal?
Well, it's supposed to be lapin moutarde, but it's not a regular moutarde. There's a lot more cream in there.
Where'd you find a rabbit?
And on this floor, this is where Andy Warhol made his immortal classic, The Chelsea Girls. You know, Andy Warhol was originally a woman shoe illustrator who worked for Bonwitz, and then he painted some tomato soup cans, went on to fame and fortune and glory. Watch your step. A man here is trying to make repairs. I think there's a little wet paint.
You know, Bill's favorite food is Texan food, though. I was talking to me yesterday. You like that food?
Chili. Well, I do like that kind of food. I wouldn't say.
But not chili. The chicken fried steaks.
No,
and stuff
not
like
chili. But sort of.
I have one the other night. We all have one.
What is
the chicken?
What is a chicken fried steak?
And on the next floor, we're going to see the apartment where William Burroughs wrote Naked Lunch. Naked Lunch was quite an important seminal writing. When the first time it came out, it was considered very, very scandalous. Today, a book like that is really sort of hardly raises a blush on the cheek of your aunt from Dubuque, as they'd say in the New Yorker.
Can you tell me what a chicken fried steak actually is made out of?
Well, it's just a thin slice of steak, breaded and fried very quickly.
Why does it taste like mush?
Well, it depends on what they start with, how it tastes.
Oh, right.
What I particularly like is the biscuits and gravy.
Right.
Gee, I never had a chicken fried steak. That sounds like a great
We can go to the Alamo
idea.
Cafe anytime you want.
Really? And it's actually a steak?
Yeah, all these guys.
It's not really a steak, it's sort of a tenderized steak. It's
Oh, really?
kind of those
No, they give you a big chicken fried steak and a big thing of mashed potatoes and a big thing of some kind of beans or peas and stuff.
Oh, that
You
sounds
sort of
really
slop it up
great.
with a spoon
Oh.
and stuff.
Well, mashed potato and beans are my favorites. So.
But you can eat those steaks with it. They're very sort of...
So we're right in the middle of dinner now. Tension here is pretty weird. Andy Warhol is wearing a pair of headphones, which he brought with him and hasn't taken off since he sat down. William Burroughs is looking fairly relaxed. He's wearing a beautiful pearl gray suit, and Warhol is telling him that he is the best dressed man in New York, and he admires his look more than anyone else's. Burroughs, slightly bemused perhaps by this kind of chic approach, has given Warhol a copy of his new book, Cities of the Red Night, a proof copy.
What?
Wait, can you do drawings?
Oh, yes, sure.
And has just signed in it and drawn a painting. Warhol is telling Burroughs that he should be a painter.
My God. Oh, more on this side. Right here. Go on.
No.
Oh, my God.
There we are.
Thanks a lot.
You're so lucky.
How great.
I'll get back to you in a few minutes to let you know what else is going on.
Oh, tell Henry to come.
He said the darndest
Tell him it's really fun.
It's so much fun there. It's nice. It's a wonderful time.
Maybe he'll think Victor's Billy.
What do I find? A healthy balance on the credit side.
Warhol's arrival at his London gallery is like a royal progress. The enfant terrible had become grand old man of modern art. But would he reveal much of what is behind the enigmatic image?
This is the first sort of major series of self-portraits for quite a long time. What prompted this one?
It's just I ran out of ideas.
But the one thing Warhol has not been short of is ideas. He's generated enough critical comment to fell a forest or two.
Really?
Yeah. Then somebody can it'd be like a store and they just come in and ask you for a can of soup and that was just the easiest way to do something. Because everybody paints the same picture over and over again anyway, so.
So you could have stuck with the soup tins and the Brillo. What was the interest to you then in that Campbell's soup tin? What gave you the idea of doing that?
Oh, I used to eat it every day. I still do, so. I don't know, and Mr. Billy Boy, I think, has some too. Are you American, Mr. Billy Boy?
No, from Mars, I think.
Oh, Mars. And it's Christopher Marcus is...
I work for Interview Magazine, Andy's magazine.
How much are you involved with Interview Magazine?
Oh, a lot. I give a cover away every minute, and then I have to go and hide.
Is that, though, more important to you at the moment than your own work, than your silk screens, or what's most of your time spent doing?
Most of my time is just to get up in the morning.
How much do you think of your success as an artist, probably the best known in the world at the moment, is as a result of your own personal image, yourself as a work of art?
Well, that's what everybody says. I don't know. I work all the time.
And work often seems to involve being the apparent calm at the centre of a storm that his presence creates, which of course contributes to the art itself.